RPN is not responsible for the views, actions, opinions, or statements of its guests, advertisers, or even its viewers. Information contained on this program is not to be construed as medical or legal advice. An appearance on this show is not necessarily an endorsement, and as always, we encourage you to do your own research. Enjoy the show. Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. As always, coming to you live from somewhere in an undisclosed location. Welcome to another edition of Friday Night Livestream. Tonight our guest is Trump sign lawn guy and my friend, J.R. Majewski. You better believe tonight is an endorsement. Hope everyone's having a lovely evening. We've got a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about JR's experience meeting the president. We're going to talk about what the future holds for him. We're going to talk about the state of the nation and what the future holds for all of us. Thank you, Slipsters. Do me a favor, guys. Don't forget to like and share this broadcast. Help us break through the algorithm. All right, everybody. Sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a very brief word from our sponsor. If you'd worked for a company for years before CV-19 came along and they let you go, you might have left a bit of treasure behind. Your old IRA or 401k could be worth thousands of dollars, and it's still working for your old firm, not for you. So if you're a bit uncertain about what the future holds right now, you should call the team at Noble Gold at 877-646-5347, and if that's not incentive enough, with each qualifying IRA, you'll get a solid silver 5-ounce Apollo 11 coin for free. So it's worth jumping on the phone and calling them at 877-646-5347. Once again, that's 877-646-5347. Make sure to tell them Red Pill 78 sent you, and remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please also join me in welcoming my guest for this evening, J.R. Majewski. J.R., what's going on, brother? How are you?
Good, buddy. How are you guys? Glad to be here.
I'm excellent. It looks like the crowd is excellent as well. You guys, please do me a favor. If you haven't yet, consider liking and sharing this show. Help us get the word out. I was unable to get it on the channel earlier this afternoon because I had a bunch of stuff I had to do. You're looking at a completely brand new setup here because I'm not at home, so I had to put everything together, and it's all brand new. So I'm very, very excited and happy that it's working as well as it is, because there's usually always like something that goes wrong. But tonight it's not. All right. Well, JR, man, obviously we know each other. Once again, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Just in case anybody watching the show isn't aware of who you are, or they have never seen that iconic image of you that I used on the card, who is J.R. Majewski, and how did you get here?
Oh, well, JR's just a regular old patriot. I'm just a guy that loves the country and loves my fellow Americans. And this year, well, every year, I celebrate Independence Day in an exceptional way. And this year I decided to paint the Trump sign or the Trump flag on my front lawn, and gathered a lot of attention, got the attention of the president, Fox and Friends, or actually, yeah, it was Fox and Friends. There's been so many news media outlets, but Fox and Friends interviewed me, and then President Trump recognized me on Twitter and Facebook, and actually invited me to his rally in Clyde. So, yeah, I'm just a regular old guy that, you know, I think I had enough of the being silent, if you will, and decided to make an exclamation point, and I used my front yard as a means to do that. So.
Well, I mean, it's quite a statement. And one thing that I noticed, well, first of all, before I say this, how many interviews have you done? I mean, you've been on quite a few local and national shows.
Oh, it's probably, sorry for the dog in the background.
You're good.
It's had to be over 20 so far.
Okay.
They're hard to count. When this all happened, it was kind of a just like a whirlwind, you know. I didn't really pay attention to who I was interviewing with, or you know, the groups that were interviewing me. But then there, you know, it came to certain, you know, people like yourself and methods that I've interviewed with, that I've developed a rapport with, developed a friendship with. So I've retained that, but everything else has kind of been a blur. But it's been Fox News, all the locals, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit. I mean, even was on an interview with a news outlet in London.
Oh, wow.
Snapchat made a little, I forget what it's called, the Snapchat video.
Yeah.
They made a video of me and the president giving each other a thumbs up. So it's been pretty big. It's been pretty neat.
That's so cool. Now, you know, one thing that I noticed, and I've taken note when other supporters of the president are interviewed, and sometimes, even if it's Fox, it seems like the reporters can have a certain type of dismissive nature, like almost like they're making fun of the people that they're interviewing because they support the president, because they have the patriotic attitude, and because, you know, all of us, every single one of us Trump supporters, we are like diehard Trump supporters. You know, it's like ride or die with the president. People respect him. He's doing such amazing stuff for our country. And when people don't get it, when they don't have that same level of appreciation for what the president's doing, they can be kind of snotty, it seems like. But every single interview I saw that you had, nobody treated you with any disrespect.
Yeah, and that was pretty clear up front that was a potential. And you know, especially when I, for example, there was a news someone
JR,
yep.
I'm sorry, we lost connection for a second there. Hold on. You guys, it's showing me now that we have an excellent connection again. It looks like it disconnected for a moment. Can we get a 5x5 when we are back on the air? All right. Okay, you guys. We should be back on the air. 5x5. We are back. Okay. So, right. Yes, it looks like they tried to take us out. So can somebody in the chat tell me the last thing you heard us say so that we can continue on with that? Let's see. Just looking for, saw you over in Craig's chat. Thank God you're back. Big Tech, 5x5. Thank you very much. Let's see. What was the last thing you guys heard us saying? Hang on. There is something on my glasses, and I just keep seeing it out of the corner of my eye. Okay, so let's just go back to let's begin with the story of how the president and his people contacted you. I want to know what happened when the president and his people reached out and how that played out.
Okay. I'm getting, just so you know, I'm getting a low band. Well, it's going back now. Okay. It did say low bandwidth there for a second, but it popped back. So Trump team reached out to me. They asked me if I'd be interested in meeting with someone from the White House or the president's cabinet. They weren't explicit in detail. And of course I said, yeah. So it was a little bit of a, they were very quiet and conspicuous, if you will, for a few days. I wasn't allowed to talk about it. Certain things that, they would tell me, but they wouldn't tell me who it was. So I, reached out to some buddies that I know that have, contacts, if you will, and we kind of narrowed the list down to it was either the vice president or it was Donald Trump Jr. Mm-hmm. And either one of those I would have been, great with. But then maybe 2 days later, they called me, and they wouldn't confirm either. that I was going to go to this undisclosed location, but they asked for all my information, did a background check on me, which obviously came through fine. And then at the last minute, I think it was maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes before it was announced that the president was coming to Whirlpool and Clyde, I got a phone call from the White House, and they said it would be with the president, and they asked me if I'd be interested in driving in his motorcade.
Heck yeah.
And I said, sure. And I think you were the first person I text.
Right on.
And then my wife was like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm texting, And so she's like, what are you, the president? What's going on with the president? Because my wife has become a Trump lover in her own. So
right.
When I told her I'm texting you, she's just sitting there like, what, why don't I get these juicy details?
So wait, you texted me before you told your wife?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Oh, that's so great.
You guys are part of the reason I'm here. So, my wife just chewed me out for painting too much and, not cleaning the pool. I'm just kidding. She kept me hydrated. She kept me going. So
that's great.
Yeah, it pretty much panned out that way. And then, the next step was getting everything ready to potentially meet the president. And went through the Secret Service screening, went through, everything else. Still wasn't allowed to really talk about it. So if someone from the president's staff is watching this show right now, please refrain from the comment that I actually texted you about that. I mean, it's too bad, so sad now. But ended up driving in his motorcade. I drove one of the vehicles that took the news media, and ironically, they recognized me. I didn't recognize them.
Wow.
Well, first it was in Clyde, Ohio, and Clyde has a population of about 6,500 people. And I went there early because that's just, my personality. I like to be early for things. And when I rode in my car down the road and I saw all those people lined up for the president, I just thought, wow, it's crazy. So I actually have a friend that is my friend is the sheriff of Ottawa County. Now Clyde is in a sister county, but anyway, reports from the sheriff were that there was over 10,000 people lined up on this road. Now, mind you, this is a population of 6,500 people, and so
greater than the population of the area were there.
Much greater,
wow.
Much greater. So, being that I'm working with the Patriots of America PAC, I decided that I was gonna just go out and meet the people. And I had my, my blue suit, and my red tie on, and everybody knew right away who I was, which was also another cool thing, because everybody locally recognizes me as the dude that was crazy and painted the Trump sign on his lawn. So right away they all knew me. I talked with a bunch of people. I handed out some of the flyers and took some pictures with the kids. And from there, I met at the airport, and the president landed, and I mean, you talk about a phenomenal orchestration of things. He was actually late coming out of Cleveland because I think what people don't recognize is how much the president actually loves to spend time with people and how much he really enjoys the constituents. Not just, hey, I'm President Trump and everybody loves me, but he actually takes time out to talk to people. And he could have easily have gone about his business and everyone still would have been ecstatic that he was actually in Clyde. But
right, just to be in his presence.
Yeah, and he was late coming out of Cleveland because of his I would say his longer campaign speech. He endorsed some local candidates and shook some hands and then left. So when he flew in and landed in the Clyde, he was already behind schedule. So I was actually parked next to the Beast, and I was chit-chatting with Secret Service, and got to overhear the whole DeWine fiasco about him having a COVID test and not having COVID and then not having COVID. I actually overheard some of that discussion, which probably wouldn't be right for me to share that, but
sure.
It was pretty neat to listen to that. And then just talking to the Secret Service guys, I actually had, because at this point it was all you could meet the president, and if you do, there's no time frame, if you will. So I was a little bit, I would say, concerned that maybe I wouldn't meet the president. And it's not that, and I said this to the Secret Service guys, it's not that I wanted to meet the president as much as I thought that it would be a great opportunity for the president to show people that, when you stand up for what you believe in, not only supporting him, but just standing up for what you believe in, that if he's within, you know, a specific area from you, he's going to reach out to you, right? And I thought it would be a good campaign marketing thing, right? And so I was very concerned that I wasn't going to get to meet him. And before I left, someone on the Trump team told me to print out the tweet in my yard, put it on like a photo. So I did, and I had a bunch of, you know, printed copies of it. And I showed the Secret Service, and I said, can you show this to someone and let them know that the Trump team wanted me to hand this to you guys? And the guy said, why? He said, I wish I could, but I'm not allowed. He said, I can't even hand the president a bottle of water if he asked for it. And so they ended up getting me in contact with one of his staffers. I gave that to them. And the irony of it is that because he has been running so late, they really did forget about me and a few other people that were supposed to meet with him. And so luckily I did that. So he toured the facility with the executives from Whirlpool, and then as he was coming back in, I had a couple of minutes to meet him and talk with him, and it was really quick. He apologized mostly for not, you know, having the opportunity to spend a bunch of time with everybody, but it was very, very quick. We didn't shake hands, couldn't take pictures because our COVID test didn't come in. We actually took the test the day before, but those tests didn't come through. And then with the DeWine fiasco again, he initially had a positive test, then a negative, and I believe we were in the same pool of tests, if you will.
Okay.
So I think that may have just essentially put our test out of play. But pretty funny conversation with him. He made a couple jokes. We tapped elbows. He asked me if I wanted to shake his hand. I said absolutely, and he said, "No, we don't shake hands here. We don't shake hands here. It's their fault. It's their fault." And he pointed at everybody else. And he said, "Would you like to bump your president's elbow?" I said, "Hell yeah!" And I bumped his elbow, and he said that I don't want to give up all the details of my conversation with him, but he said, "By the way, your yard, it's fucking fantastic." And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm like already, you know, I'm amazed that I'm in his presence, but he made a couple other comments too. Like I said, I was hoping you'd fly over my yard and, you know, you'd get to see it and everything. And you got to remember, I'm standing right in front of him, and his staff is off to the side.
Right.
And out of the side of his face where they can't see, he's making gestures at me, you know. And he's like, why didn't we fly over his yard? That's a great idea. Why didn't we do that? You guys should have thought about that. You know, and he looks straight back at me. He's winking, you know. And then he meant a couple jokes about my haircut and that I look like a Viking and a couple
you do.
And a couple other things.
Ragnar Lothbrok.
Yeah. So all in all, great experience though. And again, very apologetic that he didn't have much time with me. But, you know, when he hit that US 6, which is a state route in Ohio, when he hit that road and he saw all those people, he slowed that motorcade to a crawl. Wow. And I was in the briefing with Secret Service, and we were told that we were supposed to stay a certain speed the whole time, no matter what. So long as the vehicle in front of us maintained that speed, we were to maintain that speed too. And when Trump saw all those folks, we got calls over the radio that the president, and they used the call sign, that we're gonna slow down to 5 miles an hour, and we went that whole 2-mile strip at 5 miles an hour basically, and he waved at everybody.
That's awesome.
You know, I had a couple video clips of me sticking my hand out the window and thumbs up, and because people were just going absolutely insane. And it's just been a repeated. I mean, Ohio was first, I think, with this fandom and people just showing up for support, but you see it repeated in every state that he's visited so far. I mean, look at Pennsylvania the other day. Yep. I mean, you got Amish. I tweeted a picture of a Amish buggy. Yeah. You know, with Trump 2020 no more bullshit. I mean, and how many people said that? You know, when I tweeted it out, they're like, "Yo, that's fake. That's fake." And
no, it's real.
I got the state wrong because my buddy took the picture and sent it to me and said it was from Ohio. Now he was traveling to Pennsylvania.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's Amish in Ohio too, right?
Right. And I said, "Oh, look, you never seen this? Amish people in Ohio," and a bunch of people corrected me, which rightfully so. But the fact remains, the Amish people in Pennsylvania and Ohio are very, very much, their communities are ingrained. They work with each other. They talk with each
Oh,
other.
they're isolated as all get out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
So-
even think that Amish people bothered to vote. I mean, I thought that they considered themselves to be wholly separate from
Right.
regular Western society.
But they're not taking any more bullshit. That was obvious. I loved it. So yeah, that's pretty much my
Oh.
my meeting with the president. It was again, who would have thought? You know, I can remember vividly in May of this year sitting around a table with a couple buddies saying, "What are we gonna do now? Because we can't paint the POW flag. What are we gonna do?" And I just looked at him and said, "We're painting the fucking Trump." And they're like, "No way." And I'm like, "Dude, we're doing it." And then everybody's like, I mean, JR's got the balls to do it. Let's do it, you know. And ended up me painting it anyway, but you know,
Dude,
I can remember it like it was yesterday. Who would have thought I would have gotten all this attention from it? But
it's an incredible story, and I can, to think that it just went from a couple of guys sitting around a table thinking of the best way to, you know, shitpost, for lack of better terms, on a large scale. You know, pardon my language, everybody, but the fact that your message was able to make it all the way to the president, the most powerful man in the world, and arguably the best president we've ever had here in the United States of America. It's just unfathomable. You know, like if I thought that there was a possibility that by doing these shows that perhaps the president was going to see them and that I might meet him someday, you know, my heart would stop. You know, I look up to President Trump so much. He truly is just a man of great integrity. We've got some trolls out in the audience tonight, and you know, people always want to say, you know, Trump is this, Trump is that. You know, show me a perfect man, all right, and then make them president, okay? But the thing is that they don't exist, all right? Everyone has made mistakes. Everyone has, you know, had, you know, moments of questionable decision making, and you know, if we lived by our you know, the choices of our former lives, then we would never be able to go on to do good things in this lifetime here. And I love President Trump. I love what he's doing, and I love to look around this country and to see people rallying together around him, just like so spectacularly. You know, I mean,
he name another president or name another political individual that has had people printing T-shirts with their name on it. Mm-mm. You know, do you see Trump suing people for a patent on his T-shirts, on his last name? Do you see that kind of behavior from him? Now, you could probably find other presidents that have taken legal recourse for people printing their shirts and selling them on eBay.
Right. People put Trump's name on everything and sell it.
And he doesn't care because he loves it. He loves the fact that we're rallying together. This president has caused our country to rally tighter than any other event or any other person in our modern history outside of September 11th.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You can't name another time where we've been this united. And all this, you know, all this aggression, all this dysfunction, that's all projection. I mean, you have certain sects of society that are rebelling, and you know, it's in isolated circumstances.
Yeah.
Most of America is getting on with their day-to-day lives, totally happy and content that President Trump is our president. The only thing we're pissed off about is we got to wear a mask.
Exactly. Oh, I wish I had my mask. The mask that I have is President Trump. It's like just a big angry version of his face. And I had to go out to a couple of places. I had to buy a new mic stand today, so I wore it into that spot. But you know, yeah, it truly is a vast majority of America. I saw some polling today, and I often say that the polls generally lie, but the polls themselves, despite the fact that they are very easily skewed and quite often oversampled for Democrats and for liberal voters, President Trump is now sitting at a 45% approval rating among African Americans, okay? 45% to Joe Biden's 55%. And Hispanics, he's outpacing on virtually every other demographic. He is outpacing Joe Biden. The polls that you see, which show Joe Biden beating President Trump by, 4 points with a 4-point margin of error. I mean, clearly, President Trump is going to win in November as long as they count the votes correctly. And the only reason that Democrats and liberals want to get rid of the Electoral College is so that they can go ahead and make it easier for them to steal the election. President Trump is not just an iconic man. I mean, he has done something to this country that I never thought was possible again. You mentioned September 11th, and that is so dead on. After September 11th, I saw the country come together in such a unified front. I mean, everybody was like, never again. We got to make sure that this doesn't happen. We need to band together as Americans, and people would look at the flag and salute again. People would cry thinking about their patriotism. And now I'm seeing the exact same thing, except it is to a greater degree. President Trump has unified this country, and the vocal minority that is out there talking about, what a terrible person he is and how he's not doing anything good for the country. I mean, they're living in a fantasy world, okay? Mm-hmm. They're not truly connected to reality. Any of the trolls in the chat who don't believe that President Trump is making this country a better place, take a look at your life now. Go back, 8 years, okay? Go back 6 years, go back 4 years, and tell me that your life is not better now. And the things that are worse, you can blame directly on the Democrats or China specifically.
Yeah, and it all goes back, and we've had these discussions, in our personal, conversations. What's going on in society right now shows how disconnected we are with our history. Mm-hmm. If you specifically look over at Nazi Germany and how Hitler used demonization, I'm in your chats all the time, and I'm saying, this is the demonization phenomenon over and over again. Yep. Because it really is. What they're doing is a political tactic. They're demonizing the president with the understanding that we have a low information portion of society. Absolutely. Where they just don't do their own due diligence to go, get information on their own. And that's one of the things that I've always done. And that's what has brought me to where I am politically minded, to be so aligned with the president. I did like President Trump before he was the president, but, once he became president, just because of his personality and things that he did in his past, when things did come up, I did do my own research to verify and validate. Yeah. And a lot of it is, almost 90% of it, 95% of, even higher than that, it's just all projection.
Absolutely.
There are certain things that do have a hint of truth to them, but for the most part, if you just look at they accuse president of being in cahoots with Russia. Mm-hmm. What do we find out? Actually, Biden's son was in cahoots with the Ukraine.
It's the Dems, yeah.
And 3 months later, we find out that this is where it's at. Every big major story on Trump, you can find within a 3 to 4 month window that there's actually factual evidence that ties that same accusation in a roundabout way back to the Democratic Party.
100%. It's all projection. And even more than that, you mentioned Nazi Germany, and this is something else we discussed before, but I've always thought that, all of these tactics that they're using are propaganda tactics, which were perfected by the Nazis in World War II. Goebbels was the man when it came to this stuff. And the people using it on the left, they don't realize that they're falling into the exact same pattern of events that took place back then. And unfortunately, although they like to portray President Trump and people on the right, conservatives, as fascists, they are the true fascists in this way. And I told you before, I've often considered that Nazi Germany truly, in a manner of speaking, won World War II. Because what happened? Well, we beat the Nazis. And then we took all of the most intelligent Nazi scientists and propagandists and military minds, and we integrated them into our intelligence services, into NASA, into the government, okay? So all of those people, I remember learning about Project Paperclip when I was younger, and I thought to myself, well, that was stupid. I mean, are we to believe that these brilliant Nazi minds left Nazi Germany and their ideology changed? No. I mean, we didn't only get the intellectual aspect of their personalities. I mean, they brought their ideology here into our government, and, they became the clowns in America, okay? I mean, Werner von Braun, brilliant mind. He was able to get us to the moon, and people are going to be angry I even said that. But, I mean, we made incredible advancements in rocket technology. I'll say that. And, right. But these people didn't stop being who they were. I mean, definitely there were people that were forced to do Hitler's bidding simply because of their national origin. I mean, I don't think anybody had a choice in World War II. I mean, if you were a German, you're working for the state, that's it. Good luck to you. Right. So certainly some people came here and they embraced the American way, and that was it. But also, undoubtedly, some of those people came here and they simply were, covert German agents working within the United States government. And I would say, in the same way that we've had covert communist and socialist agents working within the United States government, except that they kind of joined forces. I mean, it was the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Now they're working together, infiltration instead of invasion, and they've been working to destroy America from within this entire time. But I mean, who is it that we're truly fighting against now? I mean, we often say the cabal. I've always seen it as the intelligence services, as the clowns in America. And that right there is what was born out of Project Paperclip.
Right. And, think about who's the head on the horse here, right? Soros is a Hungarian Jew that survived, infiltration of his country. I mean, he survived and brought a lot of that back to the States with him, and now he's a multi-billionaire with nothing but power and influence.
And absolutely no remorse about it either.
Right. I mean,
total sociopath.
It just goes back to the, demonization again. Any group that elevates itself above another has to expend a bunch of energy to keep its dark side into the shadows, right? Because they want everybody to believe that the evil deeds that they do are done by others, and that's really what this is about. It's they're trying to remain blameless. They're creating an image about themselves that is, holier than thou. Everything that they do is, it's one way or the other. I mean, you have to support a specific. You can't say all lives matter. You have to say Black Lives Matter. I mean, certain messages that you have to speak to. If you don't speak to them, then it's very black and white. You're against the the entire message for what they stand for. It's just it all falls back to that demonization and propaganda and projection. I mean, the Democratic Party should really consider changing their emblem to one of those old-fashioned projectors. Throw a red, white, and blue on there, and I think they would relate more. It would be a much more honest mascot if you were to ask me.
I agree with you there. Now, JR, we've had a couple of people. Karma Anon, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Also, Conscience Abe. I saw Conscience Abe out there. All of my mods. We got Real Red Pill 78 Mom, Wheezy Girl, Rook's Castle. I don't know if Leslie is still out there. She said she had to take the night off. Jojo, Wheezy, I hope you all are out there. Real Red Pill Girlfriend, I love you, darling. We're going to show off JR's lawn real quick because we've got quite a few people asking about it. Let me get this pulled up and we will watch a short video clip, you guys. You're going to love it. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, this is going to be a doozy. There it is. Okay. Look at that. He changed the zeros to Q's. How cool is that?
I'm going to take my hooded sweater off real quick. Hold on.
Oh, go do it right now while the camera's off you. All right, you guys. Isn't that amazing? So, JR, give us some idea of the proportions here for people who haven't seen the information on this before. I mean, I said it was a football field size, but it's clearly not as large as a football field, but it's sizable.
Yeah, it's 19,000 square feet in total. That's the painted area. The inset where you see the Trump emblem is actually 65 feet wide by 35, or 64 feet wide by 35 feet tall. Each letter in the Trump last name there's probably about 8.5 to 9 feet tall, and 4.5, 5 feet wide, somewhere in there, rough math. So it's pretty darn big.
And let's talk about the actual process of painting that lawn. I mean, how long does it take you, and what do you have to do? Do you lay down the blue first, or do you have to like block off each area and then you only do one type of paint in each area?
So the first time I did it, I scaled everything so I had a grid so I can make it as accurate as possible. But after that, you just, I kind of developed an ability to do it freehanded, but also I still have a template there from the paint still coming through. But what I've been doing right now is so I've been fighting over the past few weeks with the weather, and I don't know what video you showed, but if the one I sent out today on Twitter where I changed "Keep America Great," I changed those letters to red.
Yes, I see. Yeah, I think it's the one. Yeah, you just put it out 2 hours ago, so it's a recent drone.
I just painted that center today, and that that takes me 4 or 5 hours. But the entire painting from a green field with nothing there took me about 50 hours. But the touch-ups have taken me 24 hours maybe, if that. Sometimes it's a little bit quicker. It just depends on the weather. But the past few weeks I've been struggling with, I've actually painted it 6 times now. Twice it's been rained. It's pretty much been rained out, and the day after I painted it, it essentially, combination of the rain and then the change in temperature at night with the dew, it's ruined the paint job the next morning.
Oh man.
So I pretty much have to get up and start, when the sun's out, and get a good dry and a good set before it'll last overnight. But to answer your question, I've been framing it out at the point with the blue, and then I come back into the center. I blew that out, and then I leave the back half for the very end, because then I'll go around it with the red and then the white, and then I'll fill the rest in blue. I try to keep the paint buggy and my feet off the sign as much as possible as I'm painting it, so just progressively move one way.
I'm now showing the video, which shows the progression from essentially a green lawn all the way to the full painted lawn sign, because it's in the one that you shared earlier today, there was a bit that was washed out on the edges, but this is the full, like, it looks like a pennant flag, like you're going to a Tigers game or something like that, and you pick it up. But now, because
I've painted it so much, just economically at this point, I have a GoFundMe up, but it's pretty much, I pretty much spent that money already on paint. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to maintain it, but I'm going to just maintain the inset, and probably not maintain the entire outside of it, just because that's the most time consuming, and also from just a cost perspective, that's where most of the cost is in that blue paint.
Right. Now, that was my next question. How much does it cost you to paint the entire area right there? If you paint all of that grass, what's the total cost?
It's about it's close to $1,200 without labor. That's the paint, and I have to pretty much change out paint tips on the sprayer every other application, or I'll just end up wasting paint. So it's about $1,200 per application. Now Greenfield, that was a different story. That was $3,000 pretty much, give or take.
So if it's completely green, so when you're doing like a touch up, that's when it's only like $1,100 or $1,200.
Yeah, because I don't have to paint as much.
Okay.
There's still going to be residual paint, and it's almost it's somewhat of a touch up, if you will. I still have to saturate a pretty good amount, but I don't have to saturate as much, because people don't realize. I've had a lot of painters contact me like, you should try this, or if it's taking this much paint, your sprayer's probably wrong. A lot of people trying to help me out, but what they don't realize and what they've learned to realize through discussion with me is when you're painting grass, it's not like painting a wall. Each blade of grass has two sides,
right?
Effectively four, because it's just thinner on the other two sides. So you really have to get all angles of that grass, and then depending on the viscosity of the paint and then the paint pressure, a lot of that paint you're just shooting right through the blades onto the ground.
Well, also any wind too, I would imagine it's going to blow it all over the place. I was trying to spray paint something out in my backyard the other day, and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's not easy. I tell you what, and especially for a guy like me, and that's another thing to consider. I'm not a painter.
Right.
This is just something that maybe I am now, but 2 months ago, I knew I could paint my garage. That's pretty much it. My wife wouldn't even let me paint a room in the house. So here I am, graduated to lawn painting.
Well, I mean, you're doing a great job all around. Real quick, guys, I just need to let me take a station identification break real quick. I have a bunch of people I need to thank for donations over the course of the last week or so. So I have two PayPals. One of them I need to close out. I started the new one. That's the one that the mods drop here in the chat and that normally is up on the screen, but because I got my laptop, not my regular studio computer, it's not up there tonight. That is the PayPal that I'm actively using. The old PayPal, I'm pretty certain people are sending donations to that if they've sent a donation prior to me closing and starting the new one. And so they're just using the same address that's in there. If you guys want to donate on PayPal, it's paypal.me/redpill78news. That's the one to use. But because I don't log into this other one, and I just realized because Trisha Q Patriot Texas donated this past weekend, and I didn't say thank you, and I realized that I had a bunch of donations in here. So I need to go through and thank all of these people. Now, because of the way PayPal acts, it doesn't show me the message that you guys left when I look at it in this list. So I'm only going to say your first name, and I don't want to dox anybody, so I don't want to screw it up. So going back to August 20th, we had a donation from Phyllis, also from Floor on August 20th, and then Rebecca on the 21st, Gino on the 22nd, Dana on the 23rd, Phyllis on the 25th, let's see, Marino Cutlery on August 29th, also Lisa on August 29th, Dana on August 30th, Charles on August 30th, Trisha on August 30th. That would be Trisha Q Patriot Texas. Thank you very much again, Trisha, for bringing this to my attention. Phyllis on August 30th, Daniel on August 30th, Janet on the 30th, George, as well as Vivian. Vivian, I haven't seen you in the chat for a long time. I hope that you guys are doing well. It was good to see this from you here. And then also William on September 1st. Now, let me go ahead and do the thank yous from Cash App. I need to say thank you to Christopher. Now, the reason I like Cash App is because it shows me your message and it doesn't disappear. Christopher said, keep up the great work. I appreciate you there, Christopher. Dana says, urgent, call me. And I believe, Dana, we've already spoken since then. And then he said, nearly done. So it looks like I am potentially doing a live podcast with Sam Tripoli. We're trying to figure out exactly where that's going to be, but as soon as I know anything, then I will give you guys the information about it. Also, James, no message from James. Marilyn said, happy birthday and thank you for the hard work. Adrian said, Christ is Lord. Yes, he is. Sam as well. He says, thanks for all your hard work, brother. Appreciate you, Sam. Christopher said, keep up the great work. Then another message from Dana. Okay, so Dana, I need to get in touch with you. I'm out of town this weekend, and I don't have any way to contact my my representative. So we'll talk on Monday. Jeff said, watched for a year now, finally donating. Thank you very much, Jeff. I'm glad that you've been watching for so long. Also, Gaffernon said, so iPod. I don't know if you watch iPod, JR, but I did a video the other day, and he called himself Red Pill 79, the coincidence detector. He did like a play on words on my name. So for Gaffer says for iPod, aka Red Pill 79, the conspiracy detector. Okay, conspiracy detector. So yeah, either way, iPod's a great channel. I appreciate you. And then also everybody who donated on Cash App. Oh, also Avery just donated. Love your show. It's my new weekend thing. Avery, thank you very much. If you've only just discovered me, then I'm really glad that you're here watching with us. This is a nice family that we have, and I really appreciate it. Ooh, Hey Jude just donated and said that SGT has a new video on 9/11. We'll have to check that out. I actually just was speaking with Sean yesterday. And then let me check PayPal real briefly. This is my actual PayPal. Okay, so Bayou Swamp Juice. This is Rain. She says Cajun Vapes, home of Bayou Swamp Juice. Bayou Swamp Juice makes quality homemade vape. They have a store in Louisiana. I can verify and attest to the quality of their vape. JR, I see that you are a vapor as well.
I'm writing that down right now, actually.
Yeah. Bayou Swamp Juice. Bayou Swamp Juice. They do have a website you can check out. So definitely. Yeah, when I first started, they sent me some custom vapes. It was pretty sweet. Tina, no message, but thank you very much, Tina. And then I need to say thank you to Steve. He says, good work, young man. Thank you very much, Steve. Not feeling so young now. I just turned 42 the other day, but I will take it as long as somebody will tell me. Diana, thank you very much, Diana. And thank you very much to John. And Beverly says, thank you for all your hard work, Zach. God bless you and yours. God bless you as well, Beverly. Rita, thank you very much, Rita. And Dodie, keeping it real. Thank you. All right, so that takes care of all of those donations. If you guys send any more before the end of the show, I will make sure to thank you. If I ever miss your donation, it's simply an oversight because I've got a lot that I'm dealing with. So just let me know. I got some stuff in the mail too. And I needed to say thank you for that. We didn't do an Occam's razor yesterday, so that would be normally where I would do the thank yous. But Larry makes custom pens from like bullets, okay, from like shells, but also like shotgun shells. He made me one that is made out of a 410 shotgun shell, and then the tip is like I want to say it's like a 230 caliber. I don't know. It's a pretty good sized bullet. Or a rifle shell, I guess, casing. And then one of them is a like a pull action, like an old Winchester rifle, you know, or like a BB gun when we were kids. And then the other one is a bolt action. So you like push it down and then push it up, and that's how you get the pen to come out. Larry makes custom bullet pens. They are super cool. I got a letter from Rita. Thank you very much, Rita, and a donation. Also, Dale. Dale sent me that magazine that we were trying to figure out was about secret societies. This happened on a Comfy Sunday a couple of weeks ago, so I haven't had a chance to read it yet, Dale, but I will be showing it on the air, so thank you very much. And then this Patriot, I could not read the name. It looked like JS Squared, but a Patriot in Orlando. They sent me stamps and a donation. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. So, JR, you know, now that you've met the president, now that you've made all of these connections there in Ohio, and you've got like a certain amount of name recognition, I mean, what are you looking to do? You know, I mean, are you going to continue to support the president, you know, vocally? Are you going to start doing something else? Because I honestly thought that maybe you should join the Trump campaign, because you make some incredible videos, and you've got some characters you do too. I mean, what are the plans for the future?
Well, you know, I was actually, you know, talking to my wife about maybe running for office. You know, I have a pretty good professional career right now. I work in the nuclear industry, and it's been very, very good to me. But the more I interact with people, and the more that I've been involved in certain functions politically, the more I'm seeing that you know, there may be a place for me in politics. And the reason I say that is because I think the country right now, and all of us can probably self-reflect and say we're guilty. Mm-hmm. We're so invested in the president being elected in 2020 that we're forgetting about the long game. And what I mean by that is when Trump is gone, we need to make sure in these next 4 to 5 years that there's no vacuum.
Yeah.
And we can't pretend for a second that the radical left wing would try to transform everything that he's done for us. So I've seen a lot of new blood, if you will, in politics, as I've looked through different Twitter, become more active on Twitter. Certainly that's kind of like a clearinghouse for new politicians, and there's a lot of interesting new folks. And I just wish that I would have been a little bit more involved last year. That probably would have given me a better window to get into a primary. But until then, I'm supporting local candidates. Rob Weber's one of them. When I got on to Fox News and interviewed with you and Methods and other folks, Rob contacted me just out of curiosity, kind of like how you guys contacted me. And Rob wasn't looking for me to support him or anything. He just thought the yard was awesome, and we have military backgrounds, and he felt that we would have good conversation, and we did. And I've watched in supporting him. I always volunteer myself to help him. Any function that he has, if he wants me to come and hand out flyers for him or speak for him or whatever it may be, I always volunteer. And Rob understands my career, and he doesn't want to impose on me. But the times that I can get him to ask me, and again, it's all about really Rob being a very nice guy. I've noticed that just how many false politicians that we have here in Ohio. And for example, with the Trump rally in Clyde, Rob wasn't even invited to that. And
why not?
Well, there's a lot of speculations on why. I can't speak with fact, but I know that I did made a lot of contacts myself, and each contact that I made had an excuse, and each excuse was poor, and they were poorer and poorer the more excuses that I got. And I contacted to the highest level in the state of Ohio's Republican Party, and none of them could offer me any help. Now you're talking about a guy that's running for the House of Representatives in the 9th District of Ohio that has been filled by Marcy Kaptur, who has been in office since I was 4 years old, right? And I'm 40, right? So I was born in '79. So I'll be, red pill 79 if you need somebody I got it. And I was born on Veterans Day, so
nice.
We can lock it down with the 11/11 there. But the president needs these. He needs these people.
Yeah.
And I can speak from just my experience in trying to contact the president, because when I first painted my lawn, all of my friends wanted me to get recognition. They all wanted the president to see the things. I was just happy that, my neighbors were happy. And if you watch the episode of Fox and Friends, all my neighbors were out there at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Now, realize Fox only called me. They didn't tell my neighbors. I made sure my neighbors were there because, my neighbors played a big part in, even though they didn't come out and paint for me, they played a big part in supporting me and rooting me on and things like that. So I took a lot of pride. I took more pride in seeing them, be recognized on, by the president and on Fox and Friends than I really did, with me getting recognized. And so with that said, just watching how Rob has been treated, and just, it pains me to see how a person running for that seat doesn't get any recognition. I mean, he hasn't even been supported by the president yet. And that's all because the president is insulated. It took me a lot, and going back to what I was saying earlier with my neighbors, when they were all rooting for me to get recognition, I decided to take my destiny in my own hands, and that's where I became more active on Twitter. And I tweeted out, to certain people in the White House, and I ended up being picked up by a large conservative news station in Columbus, Ohio, and that is what kind of set the dominoes falling. But just my efforts in that makes me believe, or gives me a sensitivity in how hard it is for Rob to get some recognition. But again, this lady Marcy Kaptur, huge ties to Ukraine. She's probably, I think the reports is that she's been in district this year maybe 12 times. You know, she's a billionaire, but not a billionaire.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
you mean like
her,
like a Kardashian? Who
her
is
significant other who hasn't worked in the 35 years or plus she's been in office is worth a considerable amount of money, put it that way. And you know, this all comes from dirty politics. And Marcy Kaptur is one of those folks, like Mark Vakita said the other night. They vote based on the party message.
Mm-hmm.
They stay behind the scenes. They don't really cause too much commotion, and they're just like leeches. They're just like leeches that you can't see until you get out of the boat and you pull your swimming trunks up. Yeah. Those are the ones that are there, and they're the ones that your mom warned you about. Right. And you find them, and what do you do with them when they're there, right? Exactly. Yeah. And that's what has to happen. Unfortunately, Ohio hasn't pulled its swimming trunks up yet. And we got a guy in Rob Weber that, I mean, he's a West Point graduate. He's an Ohio State grad. He's a lawyer, and he's a private practice. He's a practice lawyer for the people. He's never been, one of those corporate lawyers. So he has a good conscience. And, I just see this man every day busting his butt. He's self-funding essentially his political campaign. Mm-hmm. Marcy Kaptur's got him blacklisted in almost every major organization in the state, in the district.
Wow.
He can barely get donations. But he's out there every day. He's at Save the Children rallies. He's at, Back the Blue rallies. He's trying his darndest, and he's got a pretty good team of young volunteers that are helping him out, but they can only do so much. And I watch that, and it frustrates me. It frustrates me because of how they're treating that man.
Mm-hmm.
Not only because of his background, he's a veteran, but also the fact that we could use another seat in the House, but also because it just shows that a good Samaritan, a good patriot like Rob has struggles breaking into our American political system. It's just a shame.
Well, unfortunately, the deck is stacked against people who want to run for the right reasons, and it's a real shame. Well, hopefully Rob sees this interview and he'll consider coming on the show, because I would love to help him get some additional press and get the word out. You guys,
make that happen.
All right, sweet. Okay, so I don't know how many Ohioans we have in the audience, but I want to know if you guys had the ability, if it was legal for you to vote for JR in some election in Ohio. We'll just say in any election, okay? We'll pretend that you're going to be running nationally. Maybe someday you run for president. Would you vote for JR? Give me a 1 in the chat if you would vote for JR. Give me a 2 if you would not vote for JR. And if you say 2, I'm not going to blame you. Maybe you don't know enough. Maybe you're one of those people who just needs to get more information. But go ahead. I want to see that in the chat. I'd be very interested to see. I mean, you'd have my vote, JR. Obviously, we're friends, so I would have no problem voting for you, and I would work for you as well. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and to your point about the next generation of leadership after President Trump is gone, universally, ones, all ones. Haven't seen a single 2 yet. But somebody said an 11. I think I just saw A2. All right. But yeah, no. So I mean, it's a good sign. But yeah, you're completely right. President Trump is only going to be there for another 4 years. And these people, they are thinking about the long game. I mean, they're like, okay, they think beyond that 4-year term. They think, what do they need to do to make sure that they can get their guy in there in the next election? And then they're also looking, at the local and state level as well. I mean, it's not just national. I mean, this is the Democratic machine and the socialist machine that's working behind the scenes. They are, pounding the pavement on a daily basis. I mean, they're not stupid, and they've got the money to, to go up against basically anybody that wants to run for anything. The only way that people like us can get into office is by doing what we're doing right now. I mean, it has to be grassroots, and we need to get the money out of politics. Mark said something the other night about term limits. And one of the big arguments about term limits is that, people get into office and they're barely figuring out how to do the job, and then they have to start running again, and so they need to get in there a couple of times to really get their feet wet and understand how government works. I don't think it needs to be so complicated. I think government's too big. So one big thing that I would stress needs to happen is just shrinking the size of the federal government, just in general. There are too many moving pieces. There are too many things that the federal government has to worry about. So many agencies, so many things to be funded. How can you expect your elected representatives to read through a budget, okay? Every year they got to read through. Nobody's reading it. Okay? They want to make sure that their own pet things are in there. They are told by the party leadership what's in there and what they need to, rail against and what they need to, be happy about. But that's it. And that's how they keep the size of government big, is because they just keep loading it with pork and putting more and more stuff in there. But more importantly, we have to get the money out of the political process with lobbyists. I mean, there is too much interaction taking place between lobbyists, too much money changing hands, people setting themselves up for jobs in the private sector when they get out, making decisions based upon what their job is going to be when they get out. That's the number one thing I think that I can think of.
Yeah, and I'd like to see, I can align to the term limits. I know Mark had a 12 by 12 plan, I think it was, and I can align to that. But here's another side of the argument to think about. Maybe we don't need to reform or put a limit on terms. Maybe we just need to make it easier for an everyday American to become a politician.
Yes.
And if we were to do that, then competition would set us on a recourse that would hopefully correct. And if it doesn't, then we go to the next step, and then we go to the term limits. But I really think right now it's just way too complicated, and it's just too cumbersome of a thought process. How do you become a politician? What do you do? I mean, think back into your high school days when you were thinking about college. Mm-hmm. You don't know where to start. You may want to be a lawyer or a doctor, but where do you go? You just show up one day to a college and then you start talking to counselors, right? Mm-hmm. That's pretty much how it happens, because if you come from a family that has really no college graduates, because we're of the age where that is kind of limited. Mm-hmm. We're more of the age where people start becoming college grads. You don't really have that experience to reflect on. And I really think the term limits is a potential fix, but I think course correction would be to just make it easier for anyone to become a politician.
Well, I think they need to have spending limits on how much money can go into a campaign. I mean, when you got somebody gets into power, and then many companies are going to back that horse because they expect them to win, and then they expect them to implement their agenda. If there are limits on how much money they can bring into a campaign, how much money they can even spend, and the way in which the money can come in. I mean, if it was, say that everybody has, like a cap, like $150,000, say, just as a round number, then people are going to be very selective on how they spend that money, and they're going to spend a lot more time physically going and meeting either constituents and whoever it is.
Right. Or if, another thought that, and this is just thinking off the hip, but, if that money was, if all political donations were submitted to the party and there was hyper transparency, which is another thing that we do need. Yep. If there was transparency on a party to party basis, and then the party was required to delineate how those donations or how that funding was dispersed amongst its members, mm-hmm. and that disbursement was commensurate with the office in yep. which those candidates are running, then you have full transparency, you have equity in how the donations are dispersed, and you have a much more fair playing ground. I mean, if you look at politicians in Ohio, for example, I think Bob Latta raised like $7 million this last campaign, and Sherrod Brown raised $25 million. And that all falls back to the lobbyists in which they're associated with because of what boards they're on within the Senate or the House. Mm-hmm. And yeah. It's to me it's despicable. It's lobbying. There's a place for everything. Everything that man creates, there's a place for it. Mm-hmm. It's just you could drown in a tablespoon of water, but you still eat soup, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to take things as they come in increments. And if we were to look at just the the disparity between, you know, a CEO and let's say mid-level management, the millions of dollars of difference. You know, most of that gap could be filled by reintroducing that lobbying money back into those organizations and redistributing that money and giving them more equitable pay raises to people. And you know, that's me thinking off the hip, but and again, I don't think government should be telling businesses how to operate, but you know, if there could be some advice given and eliminating or streamlining lobbying could achieve that, then you know, that's what we should be aiming for.
I completely agree with you there. All right, you guys, I have opened the phones. I dropped the Zoom link into the chat. I'm also going to put the Zoom information in the description of the video. And before we take this first caller, I am going to drop JR's Twitter into the chat. So if you haven't followed JR on Twitter yet, you can go ahead and do that. He makes some great videos. Actually, before we bring in the first caller, I mentioned that you've got some characters. You're a funny dude, okay? And when we first met, I mean, I had no idea. You never mentioned it. Tell us about, what is it, Gary?
Yeah, so this is another round table event with me and the same buddies. And so, you know, when Snapchat first came out, we would Snapchat each other, and you know, we'd put on the lenses or whatever and change our faces. And I found this guy that, you know, this lens had big glasses and, you know, big hair, like you kind of reminded me of like, you know, the guy from Three's Company or something like that.
It looks like a 70s cop, I thought.
Yeah. So we would all just send each other messages changing our identity. And so, you know, if you sit back and you think, so I did this one video and I was trying to depict like a 70s used car salesman. Yeah. And it turned into something different. And as we're, you know, having our little talk in person, you know, the one guy said that you should, JR, you should do this Gary as like a used golf cart salesman, because around here it's all golf carts, you know? And so that turned into what is now known on Facebook and is fairly famous. So I have a couple of thousand followers. It's called Gary's Golf Carts, and Gary is like this stuck in the 70s used golf cart salesman. You know, thinks he's highly arrogant. He's kind of a bigot. It's just, you know, it's a comedy thing that I put together, and one of the videos actually got close to 1 million views, and then Facebook deleted it, and then I resubmitted it, and I think it's up to like 500,000 now. But the other sad thing is when this all started happening, and now all the people that follow Gary's, they're a crazy bunch of dudes, and they're like all auto mechanics or something, but they're all Trump followers too. That's the greatest part. When this fame came about, Snapchat deleted that filter, so I don't have that filter anymore. I'm actually paying a software designer a couple $1,000s to make me another one, and he's in Italy, or Ireland, so we've been talking back and forth, but. Anyway, when this whole flag thing started, now if you go on Facebook and you find Gary's Golf Carts, you'll see that I was painting this flag under the guise of Gary, right? It was all a spoof because I didn't think this was going to blow up. It was just something that I could do on my spare time for my little comedy channel. And when Fox and Friends contacted me, I just went, holy shit, what do I do? Because all the film, everything that I've been doing has been, you know, under Gary, and I've got a couple hundred videos out there, and a lot of them I make fun of Antifa, I make fun of you know, liberals in general, make fun of just a bunch. It's shitty humor, but you know, I think people like all of us with similar minds and similar senses of humor. You either like it or you don't, and if you don't, I apologize. But if you do, you know, I encourage you to watch all the videos because they're pretty good.
It's hilarious. I mean, I don't even use Facebook, and I did just so that I could go in there and watch that stuff. All right, let's go ahead and bring our first caller in. You were first, right here. Caller, can we get your name for the audience?
Hey, I am Mr. Hatfield.
Mr. Hatfield, welcome.
Yeah, I read, I've been reading 1984 so many times, and I noticed the extreme left liberals have been following the same pattern as the party in that book.
Yep.
It's like, and that book is supposed to be a warning to what's been going on, what's going to happen.
It's amazing how the impact of that book has lessened over time, and people are just completely ignorant to the messages in it. I mean, it's literally a blueprint for what the Dems are doing right now in America. It's pretty insane, isn't it?
Yeah, the BLM and Antifa is the liberals' version of the thought police.
Yep.
It's like, and it's getting worse and worse in the Chicago area. And the mayor of Chicago is refusing to do anything, allowing the police and allowing the governor to send military over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I met a gentleman last night by the name of Guy Gruters, and I put a tweet out about it. He's actually he was a POW pilot. He was a POW in Vietnam. He was actually a pilot. He was shot down twice, and he was a POW for over 5 years, right? And this guy last night was talking about BLM, and he made some very distinct correlations on just socialism and what he dealt with in Vietnam with the Viet Cong, and how he's seeing a lot of that play out right now. And I mean, just to listen to this guy talk about some of the things that they were put through, and how he's read historic reports from Nazi Germany, from China, from Russia, and just all of these socialism movements and the steps that they took to strip their societies. And right now he really sees what we're going through as those initial stages, and the correlations that he made. You just had to have his life experiences to make those correlations. If you didn't have them, it's just thoughts that would never, you would never conceive. It was
No, but I actually also read Animal Farm. Yeah, George Orwell, he read a lot of anti-socialism books, warning against socialism. Oh,
Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. I was muted. Yes, we were just talking about when I was younger and my mother was reading the book On the Trail of the Assassins by Jim Garrison. There you go. It took me a minute, but I remembered it. As a result, I mean, I've always looked at what was happening and realized that there was something deeper at play. There was, other things going on behind the scenes. I read 1984, I read Animal Farm, and I could see how those books were essentially predicting the future as to what was going to happen. Now, I mentioned Rules for Radicals. Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky that is another blueprint playbook for what the Democrats are doing and the way that they act, and how they manipulate people's minds, and it's how they essentially get their message across. They're relentless. All they want to do is get all the power. They want to take over, and they want to brainwash people, and they want to erase us. If we're not careful, then we're going to have the revolution here that Mao started in China, and we're very close to it. President Trump essentially put a stop to it, but to JR's point from earlier, we have to make sure that we continue to do the work so that it doesn't happen once President Trump leaves office.
Yeah, like I'm noticing that if Trump loses, there is going to be another civil war.
Well, we're very close right now. I mean, we haven't talked about this yet, but the shooter from Portland, Michael Forrest Ronald, He was gunned down yesterday in Washington. The feds were serving a warrant to bring him in on federal murder charges, if I'm not mistaken, because the state and the city of Portland had chosen not to press charges. They said that they were waiting for them to do it before they went and did it federally. But because they didn't want to do it, they had to go and get him. And he was in his vehicle. He was leaving the house, and then they surrounded him. He got out. He drew, and they went ahead and took him out. I saw footage from the scene where they were working to resuscitate him, but it was pretty obvious that he was already gone, I think, by the time he hit the ground. But he's been taken care of, but he gave an interview on Vice News that just aired literally right around the time that they were going to serve the warrant on him, and he said that that shot was essentially the first shot in a second civil war taking place here in America. I think that is exactly what they're hoping for. They are attempting to incite a civil war on the streets so that when President Trump is forced to take action and to go after him, they can point their fingers and say, look, he is a dictator. We've been telling you this all along. But, I mean, it's them. They are the true fascists. They are the ones who are going to destroy this country. It's not President Trump.
Yeah, I've been living my life in peace and not raising my hand in violence like all us true Trump supporters are.
Yep. No, that's exactly it, and that's why I always tell people, don't go get involved. I mean, protect your family, protect yourself by all means, but do not go out looking for trouble. These people are there waiting for you to come out looking for trouble. And even this guy, Aaron J. Danielson, he was not somebody who was a violent person. He was not out looking for a situation to get involved in. He was just simply there to show his support for the president, and that was it. They gunned him down in cold blood. It was horrible.
Just look at the radical left wing's predicate for every conversation or every snide remark they make on Twitter. Yeah. Imagine if. Right? When's the last time you've seen, all these tweets and all these comments on the internet saying "imagine if," And I'd like to give one right now. Imagine if Kyle Rittenhouse would have had an interview with Sean Hannity the day after he shot self-defense those 3 people. Yeah. Imagine the reaction that would have occurred. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the issue. We're living in their enforced fantasy land. Mm-hmm. We have to comply or else.
Yeah, I live in a suburb of Chicago where the mayor has ordered the police to ignore all BLM related activities completely as well. Where the mayor in my town is pretty much anti-Trump.
Yeah. I have an office in Naperville, Illinois, and I haven't been to it in months because of everything that's happening. In Chicago, all the gun shops are sold out. Like my pa and we bought the last guns there, and they were historic. My pa bought a rifle from World War II, 303 Enfield, and I bought like a 1860 style revolver.
Nice.
And musket.
That's pretty sweet. Good stuff.
I do Civil War reenactments, and I'm in dismounted cavalry.
Cool, dude. That's awesome. Do you got a Twitter?
It was shut down.
Oh, man.
Because the Confederate flag. The Confederate flag was really in the corner of the picture.
Oh, my gosh. They have absolutely no sense of historical preservation. They have, if it's a symbol of hatred to them, it's a symbol of hatred to them. It'll be nothing else. All right. Well, if nothing else, a cautionary tale of what not to do.
Yeah, I got sent to Facebook jail for the same reason. You can't even see if it was really a Confederate flag. The cross section on the Confederate battle flag is actually a St. Andrew's cross. Mm-hmm. That stands for Christianity. Yep. And it was designed to allow the Confederates to know, hey, these guys are your brothers.
Sure, definitely. All right. Well, any final thoughts you have for JR before we move on to the next caller?
Well, God bless you, my friend. If I would vote for you, man.
God bless you too.
If I had the power.
Oh, I appreciate it. Right now, we got to vote for our local folks. Make sure we're voting all Republican this time around.
That's right.
I always vote Republican.
Good for you. Keep it up. And stay safe there on the mean streets of Chicago, okay?
Hey, I'm out in the suburbs. I pretty much hired a few bodyguards, pretty much, which is family. That's the Hatfield family.
There you go.
Not a 500 of us still alive.
And watch out for the McCoys, and you'll be all right.
Hey, we actually made peace with them. Some of us actually married into their family.
Oh, well, hey, I mean, that's one way to do it. All right. All right. Well, hey, thanks for your call. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. God bless y'all.
God bless,
God bless
brother.
you.
Have a good night. All right. Muffin just showed up. Muffin, honey, there's not enough room for you to come up here. I'm sorry. Okay, let's. And I just need to say thank you to Inspired Insight. She said, "Red Pill, thank you for all you do. You have such a calm. You have been such a calm in the center of this storm. Blessings. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've lived my life. At this point, I like to say I've lived multiple lives because." Everybody grows, everybody matures as they get older, and I had my young, angry, rebellious phase already. I got that out of my system, and I know what works and what doesn't work at this point in my life. So I made a conscious decision to approach things with a certain calm and type of logical deduction. I want to think about what's going on. I went for a long time just making decisions from an emotional standpoint or flying by the seat of my pants, and life has always worked out better for me when I take my time and go for it. Okay, so here we go. We have Denise, our UK correspondent. Denise, we haven't heard from you in the last couple weeks. I know that we've had so many callers, so let's see. Denise, are you there? She's getting her microphone connected still. Oh, Muffin, what is wrong, honey? Come here. Do you want to get up here?
He wants to say hi to the famous lawn guy, man.
Oh, hey, well, while we're waiting for Denise to get on the line, JR, we should make this announcement here, dude.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hold on.
I know where you're going.
Let me bring this over. Check it out, guys. JR and I are going to do a live event on September 29th. This is the night of the first debate, or the scheduled first debate. Hey, Denise, one moment. This is the night of the first scheduled debate between President Trump and Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe Biden, on that piece of property that you saw with the giant Trump lawn sign. We are going to live stream, and we're going to do like a MAGA meetup, like it says on the flyer here. But we are going to have and anybody that wants to, you guys, come on to the land there. We're going to be streaming and showing the debate on a large. I guess it's going to be like a screen, or you said it's a blow up thing.
Well, they have these 30-foot long or 30-foot wide inflatable projection screens, so I'm thinking about getting one of those and then getting the projector, having the whole sound system set up, and we'll have a good time and tear up my yard, so I got to paint it again and watch.
So if you can't make it to Ohio, then you guys can watch the stream on my channel. But if you're able to actually come out there, I would love to meet you guys. JR would love to meet you. And we're going to be putting this out on Twitter, and we'll have more information. We'll have it like an address, and we'll have everything. But I'll have hopefully I'll have my website up very, very soon. And then I'll be able to have the information on there. And but yes, Red Pill Road Trip, Rick Castle. Denise, what is up? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you two?
Excellent.
Very good.
JR, I just want to tell you that you are international. There are a lot of Q followers and Trump supporters in the UK, and your lawn went viral in the UK. Not only that, but we've got a chap going round, speed limit signs, 60 mile an hour, 30 mile an hour.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone round with a roll of black tape and made all the zeros into Q's.
I've seen a couple people doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, round the Peak District and in various towns. He's making the zeros on speed limit signs into Q's. I've got a blue fence. I just wish I had your talent and could put Trump 2020 on my blue
Denise,
fence.
did you see that the video at the beginning when I showed like the progression, like him starting from nothing and going like JR, you are doing it like a professional, okay? Like you've got grids that you create with twine. Denise, all I'm saying is that if you get yourself a ball of twine and a couple of push pins, I bet you that you could do something really good with your fence.
Yeah, a lot of dedication, a lot of planning. That's where it's all at. Plan. Like I said earlier, my wife won't even let me paint a room, and she didn't really have a choice with the yard, because I'm the type of guy that I don't need to mask that windowsill off. I can paint right next to it. I'm good enough to do that.
Steady hand.
No, I'm quite good at home decorating, but I'm not artistically inclined. So I couldn't see myself painting Trump 2020 on my blue fence with the red and the white and everything else in it. But yes, your lawn has gone viral around Europe. So it's not just in the USA.
That's so cool.
And really, that was all I popped in to tell you, that you were internationally famous, not just USA famous.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I know I did get interviewed by someone from The Sun, and then there was another interview I did with someone from London, but I don't recall. I know there was a news article too. That was actually not an interview. It was on a website, and he was a little bit more, I would say, confrontational, if you will. He didn't call me a Trump supporter. He called me something else, and I can't recall what it was, but it was more of a negative connotation. But
right-wing radical.
I just smile every night when I look out my window and know that painting out in my front yard is making a whole bunch of people uncomfortable.
I'm surprised actually the Sun didn't go negative on you. They haven't got a very good reputation in the UK at all.
It may have been the Sun, to tell you the truth. I could find it if I looked, but the guy interviewed me, over on Zoom. Actually, he was really polite. But when the article came out, I got a phone call from my mother. That's how bad it was.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
She's the only one left in the family that I have to red pill. She never liked Flintstone vitamins, she said, so she's having a hard time. We'll get her there though. We got some time until November.
Any that don't take the red pill will still be taking a red suppository.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they want to or not.
That is a great
Whether they
analogy.
want to or not. Exactly.
That is a great analogy.
Okay,
right.
Well, I wish you good night and let you get on to your next caller.
Denise, thanks for your call. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Good night.
Night. Bye-bye. All right, Denise, always a pleasure. Okay, so Neo in the chat said that the stream is clipping pretty bad, especially the callers. I am showing I have an excellent connection and 0 dropped frames, so if there's any issues, unfortunately, it's going to be on YouTube delivering it to you on your end. In order to maybe have it go smoother, I would change the resolution from full 1080 maybe down to 720 or to 480. That way it won't struggle so hard to deliver it to you. All right, let's go ahead and see who. Oh, Sweta is next. Our Indian correspondent. Get Sweta in here, and thank you very much to everybody who has donated tonight. I appreciate you guys. Sweta, are you there?
Yeah, hi, Redpill.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Redpill.
Excellent. What's going on? What's on your mind tonight?
First, I'd like to tell JR that his lawn is really pretty, and his painting work is really nice.
Thank you.
It would be nice if you could post his, YouTube or Facebook account where people who haven't seen his comedy videos could also start watching. Also, if you could, post Rob's Twitter account, since he was mentioning so much that Rob has not gotten much of a
Yeah, Rob Weber. Does he have a Twitter account, JR?
It is West Point Weber.
West Point Weber?
Mm-hmm.
So if you could post that also in your Red Pills live stream, that would be nice. I would request Red Pill for the change my mind session with Jason Burmis and Robbie Martin.
Yes.
On QAnon. They're not going to be excited about. They're never going to be the people who are going to be excited about Q posts. But
No.
if as long as they become open-minded and curious and keen observers of the Q movement, it would be useful. And to mention to them that not to take all Q posts seriously, and even if there's no new info, as long as the research is legit. Those are 2 points that they were mentioning in their videos.
Okay.
Also, Jason Burmis is not much of a UFO, thing.
Right.
So, him and Edge of Wonder guys, that would be something, you and Edge of Wonder guys and him and Robbie Martin. Through Robbie Martin, you will have access to Abby Martin, Aaron Mate, Max Blumenthal, Jimmy Dore, Graham Elwood, Caitlin Johnston, Luke We Are Changed from the left, who are influencers on the left. So that's something I would again suggest that if you could, have a Change My Mind session along with Edge of Wonder guys with Robbie Martin and Jason Burmis, since you're already having another one with Sam Tripoli. I think Sam Tripoli had one QAnon Change Your Mind with one of the guys who made a viral video about Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
So that's the thing. And another request I would give is, if you could interview Roger Tolsis.
Yes.
He's
definitely still on my list. I'm a little inundated right now. I'm scheduling for October, but I promise you he's on my list of people to contact. I'm still trying to schedule a couple of people that I've been working on getting on the show from like back in the spring. And Bishop Larry Gators, he's somebody I was trying to get on the show, but he is booked out until September of 2021. I was like, congratulations, what a schedule.
Yeah. Also, if you could, if you could put in a word to Anne Vandersteel, I've sent her an email as well. She's also interviewed a targeted individual along with Bill Binney, who is an NSA whistleblower.
Yes.
So even if she could interview Roger Tolsis and Eric Carlstrom, that'd be really useful for us. Yeah, that's it for today's call. I wouldn't want to take up time from the other callers.
All right, Sweeta, thank you very much for your call, and I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, have a great night. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Bye.
Awesome. Okay, good stuff.
I sent you a text with those other links for Rob Weber, and then.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get this pulled up. I want to make sure all my text messages don't show up on the screen. Okay, don't worry, guys. We're not going anywhere. I just need to get my messages pulled up. And yes, it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. Okay. Okay. Copy that. Okay. All right. And we're back. There we go. Okay, good stuff. Here is Rob. You said Rob Weber's. And then Facebook, Gary. I looked up Gary's golf carts, and I got an actual Gary's golf carts, not your Gary's golf carts.
Yeah, I actually trolled him in the beginning. I said, "Hey, you're not the real Gary's," and he watched the videos and thought they were hilarious. But yeah, if you search for it's at Catawba Roadie. You'll understand what that means. But
I know what that means.
And I actually have people in town looking for Gary's golf carts.
Is it? But is Catawba Road a real road? It sounds like a road from Ohio.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's great. All right. Oh, my good friend Alexandria Occasional Cortex. This is so funny because anytime AOC calls in, there's always at least one person in the chat who thinks that it's like a real AOC account, or maybe somebody who likes AOC, but it's a parody account, obviously. But yes,
I love it.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, this is great.
Man. Oh, the Joe Biden sniffing meme never gets old. What's up, AOC?
Good.
Needs to be a glass of
another day in paradise.
Captain and Coke in that picture somewhere, pouring a drink.
Oh man, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, I just wanted to say, congratulations, JR. That's absolutely wonderful. What what an awesome experience that is. And I totally support you running for some sort of office in 2022.
Mhm.
And I ran this year in a Senate seat, and got COVIDed out, but started the Great Awakening political committee, and for sure gearing up for 2022 already with that. But meeting a lot of Q patriots out there, because I don't think it's enough just to vote Republican. You know, we need to vote for people that could pass a test.
Oh yeah.
You know, tell us about Pedogate, Muffingate, and Epstein. You know, and have a good idea of how the government's been working.
AOC,
you know.
college curriculum, and, yeah.
Exactly.
What
Well, anyway,
I find
on
funny is
a
all these
personal.
politicians. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you go.
What I was going to say is, just from my interaction with all the politicians, what I find amazing is how, and I think Rob Paquita, or was it Mark Paquita? I'm sorry, I have Rob in my name because I'm thinking of Rob Weber, but Mark Paquita actually answered just right on last week when he was asked about Q. You know, politicians unfortunately have to distance themselves only because there's so many people that just aren't aware yet, and because the left has such a powerful vehicle for propaganda, when Republicans or middle of the road conservatives hear about Q, they automatically think that it's this huge conspiracy theory, and we don't do ourselves a good justice sometimes online when we post things without fact. I mean, there's a lot of things that are out there that, you know, that I can see. Again, you know, I've said this on a few other podcasts. You know, I'm not anon. You know, my name is associated with everything that I do. I don't have the benefit of posting things anonymously, so I have to be very diligent in what I put out there. You know, I have a family that's dependent upon me, and a doxing would really do me. You know, doxing to my employer is totally different because they know my name, but you know, it just makes me. I carry myself in that manner anyway, but I can only imagine what these politicians are going through when they have this distinct fear of the left, and if they do show their alignment with Q, or they do show their beliefs in Q, they could be misconstrued as, you know, a bunch of psychotics or cultists, because that's the label that's being put on us from the left, and the reality of it is just not enough people are aware, and so.
Well, I think if we start planning, I'm 100% in agreement that we have to be ones to step up here in the future and start planning for 2022, so that you know, people like us are in place by the time Trump leaves, because otherwise it's just not going to matter. They're just going to take back over. I mean, they got a lot of money to spend on other people's
and AOC, to your point, I mean, I'm in complete agreement. I mean, just because someone is a Republican does not mean that they have the best interest of America at heart. You know, I believe that President Trump is a Republican in name only. He has created what I think should be a wholly separate political party. Okay.
Oh, I agree.
We need to have like the MAGA party, or, you know, the Trumplican party, because it's not exactly, I mean, he has changed the Republican Party for the better. But you know, I think we need to get away from this two-party system. That is another thing that makes it very easy for people to continue. Oh, there you go. Okay, you left for a second.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem. It's another thing that makes it more difficult for people to break in, and you know, it keeps us in this left-right dynamic, which is not truly the way it is. I mean, we live in a world of shades of gray, okay? And you know, people need to have Muffin. Come on. People need to
She's
be
agreeing
thinking.
with you.
She is, yes. People need to be thinking about America, okay? And this is another thing. They think about themselves. They think about you know, building their pocketbooks and their portfolios, enriching themselves. You know, what am I going to do when I get out of office? They get into office so that they can make these connections to the financial industry, the pharmaceutical industry, whatever the lobbyist group is that is courting them. And then they leave, they go work in that private industry, they enrich themselves, and then maybe they go back in to public service, and then they're still working for whatever corporation it was. James Comey is an excellent example. You know, I mean, he's been in and out.
And we're doing that stuff. We replicate, or we mimic that. as supporters too, because I posted a tweet about this the other night. It was one of my times of being frustrated, and I said, go over to the website and check out my merch is something you'll never hear me say.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because, I only have, I think, maybe 17,000 followers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see people that get red pilled and all of a sudden, boom, they blow up to 100,000 some followers. And now the next thing you know, they're selling T-shirts, or they're releasing a photo album or whatever it may be. I could only imagine what someone like myself, or someone, that's really in this for, the long game, how we could have an impact with that type of a platform. And it frustrates me because I'm not in this for a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And I see these other folks that are doing that. And with all due respect, if it's taken someone this long to understand that they have conservative values, then they're not the type of people we need to be following anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So their message almost becomes moot, at least to an intellectual like me. I look at them as, they need to be paying attention with their eyes open, not trying to sell a T-shirt. And
right.
I just want to end on this. I've got a weird connection on my phone, but I just want to say the best news I've heard all day is this MAGA meetup, and I just might meet you guys in person here this month.
Dude, that would be sweet.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well,
I'm going to start making plans.
All right.
I'm hoping to see a handsomer version of AOC.
Already. I'm way better looking.
Oh, I hope so.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Well, bye for now, guys. Love you. Have a wonderful time, and congrats on everything.
Love you too, brother.
Thanks,
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Peace. Good stuff. Yes. That would be awesome if AOC was able to make it. Dana Finkler on the line, coming on in. Let's see. I was trying to get Gary's golf carts pulled up on here, and let's see, Catawba Roadie. All right, I think I found it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I've got the link to Gary's golf carts, you guys, and go ahead. Now, does this your video here, right up here at the top of your page, does that have any copywritten music in it?
They all do, but they pass the YouTube. So I have it on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't catch it for the music.
Really?
I have it set to a certain background volume.
Okay.
That flies under their radar.
All right. Dana, what's going on, brother? Can you hear me?
Hey, buddy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right, man. So I got a list of organized thoughts. I'm going to get through this pretty quick.
Okay.
All right. First and foremost, just the other day, man, no joke, I have celebrated 1 month sober.
Good for you, dude.
I want to thank Gaffer. Yep.
Congrats,
I want to thank Gaffer for that. I took that trip, and he helped me out a lot, and I'm going to return to see him in a year, and we're going to celebrate together, man. And as Gaffer says, there's always a delay, so make sure you account for that. So, other than that, oh yeah, JR, you were mentioning earlier about T-shirts that all lives matter. So I don't know if I can get this in here. Yeah.
All right, man.
It says all lives matter except terrorists, rapists, child molesters, cop killers, and anybody who hates America. Screw those guys. I jumped up the other day.
I love it.
Did you make that, Dana, or did you buy it?
No, dude, my buddy had it on, and I said, I'm like, where did you get that? And he's like, a thrift store. And I was like, dude, how much do you want for it? Because you got it. Dude, I've been getting some pretty cool looks from it too. So
That's awesome, dude. I love
hey,
it.
JR, my question for you, I just want you to JR, my question for you, I just want you to sit on this in a minute. We'll get to it. Because I got to get through a couple things. Do you think JFK Jr. is Q? And what's the whole thing with Vincent? Just your thoughts on that. We'll get to that in just a second, though. And, Red Pill, I'm just telling you that. I don't know if you've done that yet. But other than that, the Sam Tripoli stuff. So here's the deal on that. I put an offer out to Sam for October 14th. That's a Wednesday. I already booked stand-up comic Jason Tebow again. I'm hoping and praying, man. So, Sam, if you're listening, I'd love to get you out there. Other than that, the other show that we're talking about is pretty much gonna happen. Just give me some time, we'll figure it out. I just want to make sure all the proper people talk.
All right, sweet. So yeah, as soon as we get the details nailed down on this, I will announce it here on the channel, and you guys will be able to come to that as well. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, then, like I said, but I do have that show, so Sam might be coming out October 14th. I should hear something maybe by the end of the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted on that. We'll talk to you about it next week. Yeah, the last two other things. Are you ever going to get Dave from X22 report back on?
Oh, I'm sure I will. I just,
Okay, cool.
yeah, it hasn't happened yet. He's super busy. I mean, doing 2 videos a day, it's difficult. God, he does more than, I mean, that's just on his main channels, you know. He's got, X22 Spotlight. He's doing that one too. But yes, Dave, if you're listening, I would love to have you back on the show. I would preferably like to do it either just before or just after the election. I think that would be a great time.
Cool. JR, yeah, go ahead on that, and then I got one last thing for you, right, Bill.
All right.
Well, I can tell you that I personally, I don't have any necessarily thoughts on who Q is. I'm pretty confident that it's someone in the DIA. I don't think it's JFK Jr. I'm a prescriber to the fact that Q announced that he'd passed. I think that's pretty accurate. I'd love to believe that JFK Jr. was alive, but at this point, I don't see the facts being there. But again, I'm open-minded enough to not be surprised if he was still alive. But I've also heard the argument that, well, Q, there was a riddle in that because if JFK Jr. was still alive, JFK Sr. is dead. That means he's not a junior any longer. But the fact remains that if I'm a junior, my dad passes, my legal name doesn't change, right? So I think if Q was stuffing riddles into the message, I think if Q's messages were that in depth, were that cryptic, there would have been some follow-on messages. That's my personal belief.
Cool. Right on. All right, yeah, I just got one last thing, if this is cool with you.
Go ahead.
All right, man. Hey, the whole trip thing with my dad, man, this is really cool. The other day, I finally saw a picture of the lady for the very first time in 13 years.
Oh, wow.
Now, guys, I am extremely, extremely close. Can you pull up my Twitter thing real quick?
Just a second.
Hey, there's Muffin.
Yeah.
One thing we do know, though, just to add on a little bit, we know Austin Steinbart is not Q.
Yes, he's in jail for he violated by using drugs and alcohol. Okay, Muffin.
Cool.
Honey.
All right, yeah, let's get this off. Get this out real quick. So, guys, all I'm trying to do, he's gonna pull it up. It's "Behold a Pale Horse." I just want you guys to be able to see it because it's not exactly spelt the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote a letter to this lady right here, and I have a pic. This is the only picture I have of my father and I. Okay. All I want to do. This lady is currently incarcerated somewhere in Texas. I just need anybody's help. I have some money. I will gladly help anyone that assists me in this. I just need to find where she's at. I want to get her that letter, and I want to be able to forgive her and let her have peace in her life.
Have you isn't there like a database, like an online database in Texas of all of the prisoners? I mean, because I've looked up people before, like somebody I went to high school with ended up in prison, and I found them through an online database. Have you not? Has that not worked?
I've tried and tried. I'm just gonna keep on trying. There's been some people helping me out, but I just want anons to dig, man. If anyone can help me out, man, I greatly appreciate it. I'll even make it right with you financially, dude.
Right on.
So I just want to leave this. If you guys get a chance, read Mother Teresa's Anyway poem. It's really cool, and that really reflects how I feel right now. And that's about it, man.
All right, brother.
And I'll keep you posted about keep you posted about the show.
All right, sounds good. Congratulations on the sobriety, Dana. I'm proud of you, brother.
Woo! Hey, I'm gonna end it with this, man.
Love it.
2020, no more BS, baby. All right, thank you, brother.
All right,
See ya.
brother. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, so
Hey.
Muffin has obviously made a quite the splash on the show. She really wants me to pay attention to her right now. We just got 10 minutes left, honey, and then we can do whatever you want. All right, here, we're going to bring in Rain next. There she is. Okay. Joining is Mrs. Bayou Swamp Juice herself. Rain coming in. Yes, Muffin loves me. She is stealing the show. Yep. Hey, welcome. Look at that. What's going on, Rain?
Not much. What's going on with y'all? Hey, everybody.
All right.
Me and Trumpy Bear here with his little cue.
Love it. Welcome to the
That's
show.
awesome.
Good to see you.
Y'all too. JR, I have to tell you, man, I'm so excited that you got to do that with the president.
Oh,
we
thank you.
got to go to his inauguration, and it was amazing. And I'm just so happy for you. I know that had to be a thrill.
Yeah, it was a life-changing experience. I can tell you that. It was really cool.
Red pill, like what you were saying with the two-party system, and Democrats and Republicans, I'm with you. And JR, I'm with you. People like to be able to run for office, and we need the American Party. It should be Americans just debating the bills that will become law, and those bills should be done at the state level. Our state representative should take that to Washington. If we voted in at the state level, then he should take it to Washington, D.C. to vote in. Another problem that we have is these politicians get in office, fail to uphold their oath of office, and we have no way to remove them without takes forever our vote. And we, the people, our independence tells us it is our duty to replace people who are trying to subvert the Constitution.
Yes.
And take away our civil liberties. It's our duty.
Right.
Duty. And we have forgotten how to do that. They failed to teach us that in school. Kids don't learn it anymore. And that's the problem. We have forgotten how to use our constitutional rights to protect the republic.
Well, they've taken it out of the educational system. I mean, they've been working. There's a great book by Charlotte Iserby called I believe what is the name of the book? The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America or something like that. And and it just goes through the whole thing. But I mean, they've public education, they have essentially dismantled it to such a degree that it's an indoctrination program, and it's not in the best interest of America. They don't teach the things that they used to teach when we were kids, and it's just been slowly devolving over time.
And parents can demand that. We should demand cameras in all classrooms so that parents can look in and see what their kids are being taught and be more involved in their education.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that needs to happen because they're not teaching our children the things that they need to be taught. And we don't know. Y'all, did you hear about that school that's doing the virtual classrooms and the parents had to sign a waiver that they wouldn't want to? That's no.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. No. That's. I mean, obviously, they don't want the parents to listen because it makes it a lot harder to indoctrinate the children if they're verifying.
And that right there should have been a clue to all parents. Wait a minute. What's going on?
We just need to reflect and stick back to the fundamentals of our Constitution.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. I do agree that states should have, they should have governing authority. That's true. But it starts with responsible and ethical politicians at the state level. We haven't had those. Yep. And if you look at Jim Jordan's tweet the other day, he points out all these cities that have been democratically controlled. It's been going on for the past 40 years. And to the comment about having the cameras, I'm all about transparency, but I do also believe in a right to privacy, and I wouldn't want cameras on me 24/7. What I would want is an ethically sound.
In the classroom,
Very true. But if we reformed our schools, if we had an education reform where we took this indoctrination out, then I think that our nervous systems would be better well set to the point that we wouldn't feel the need to have a CCTV system in these schools. And the police could actually go police and not be hall monitors.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right, and that could be provided by the books that they give our children, and then see their homework and their progress. There's no need for cameras, but that's not what they're doing. Hardly sending home homework. The kids don't get books; they get handouts, and we don't see them. And that's what it's. I mean, I know that with my grandchildren, that's what's going on. Right. When my school, she was in a Christian academy with the Becca program, so I know that she was getting a good education. Public schools, even we didn't really learn the Constitution and the Declaration. I mean, civics, they covered it, but they didn't teach it.
Right.
Look at over.
Our education system should be a breeding ground for intellectual patriots. It shouldn't be a clearinghouse for left-wing fanatics. And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right,
Rain,
your signal's clipping out a little bit. Did you say you had another question?
No, I just want to congratulate him and tell him, let's do it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm so proud of you and happy for you for your experience. And Red Pill, keep going. You're doing good. I'm still trying to get Sydney. She says it's all done. She'll probably talk to you.
Right on. Beautiful. I appreciate it. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a great night.
Y'all too.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So somebody in the chat told me not to stream on Wi-Fi. I just want to be very clear. I am hardlined into the wall. I have full, bandwidth, more than enough to stream in 1080 at 60 frames per second. But when people call into the show, the quality of the calls are dependent upon their bandwidth, and not everybody has, a 1 gigabyte line that they can call in on. So just keep that in mind. We're going to have time for one more caller. Oh, it's my brother Hog. Hog, yes. Hog, what is up, dude? Got to get his, microphone on. So yeah, sorry guys. I mean, and also if it is messed up in any other way, it's clearly YouTube that's doing it, because I have had 0 dropped frames this entire stream, and the signal quality is excellent. I did a test before we even started. Hog, go ahead and unmute, brother. Unmute.
There we go. Got me now?
I got you, brother. What's going on, man?
Nada. Just up at the farm, connected to freezing my butt off trying to get in. I can't get a signal in the house, so I'm in the truck tonight.
I'm glad it's working. So what's going on, dude? What's on your mind?
Well, we got the MAGA party at the end of the month here.
Yep.
And I think we need to do a MAGA at work day and start outing these leftist companies.
That's right. I think that's a great idea. And, I was thinking if we did this that same day that we're going to do the meetup on the 29th, which is supposed to be the first debate, it would do a couple of things. It would show universally, as among my audience, and then you guys, anybody that you want to tell, it would show the support for President Trump, and then, to your point, it would force these companies to expose themselves as liberal hack jobs. And then what you guys can do is send me the emails from your employers telling you not to wear MAGA stuff to work, and then we'll expose them here on the show.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, or maybe get, enough of these companies just to get, brave and outspoken enough to out themselves.
Yes, that's exactly it. We get them to expose themselves, and then people will know who they want to do business with, or, what companies are not run by patriots, which ones are giving favorable treatment to the violent left. It really disgusts me that they have taken the idea that all lives have value and turned it into something negative and turned it into somehow a symbol of racism or intolerance. There is nothing more tolerant than giving value to every single human life and looking at them in the same way. You know, I mean, when you exalt one group above another, I mean, you're never going to win. It's never a good situation.
Right. You know, they do it's got to be non-political, yet BLM is very political.
Oh, yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah, you don't get to pick and choose, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, Hog, do you think you can make it down to Ohio for the MAGA meetup on the 29th of September?
Yeah, we are shooting to make that.
All right. Good stuff,
So
dude.
hopefully it'll be nice so we can ride down. Not many bike trips this year since.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, brother. Well, listen, man, we are at midnight, so I just want to say thank you for your call. Thank you for the idea. Let's try to do something like organized, okay?
Yeah.
What do you guys say? Everybody watching the show, if you feel comfortable doing it, wear your MAGA gear to work on September 29th, and then when you come to the meetup, you can continue to wear the MAGA gear. And if you get an email or a nasty gram from your employer and they tell you that you can't support the president when you're at work, but you can support other groups, you can give it to me. I will show it here on the show with your personal information redacted, so nobody is going to be found out for having passed the information along.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it.
All right, brother.
Try to make a tweet storm with it or something.
Yeah.
I say we got one of the best live streams online. We got the biggest Trump sign in the world.
Yeah.
Let's just have the biggest goddamn MAGA meetup we can ever have.
There you go.
I mean, come on. Let's do it.
We'll do it. All right, Hog, thanks for your call, brother. I appreciate you calling in tonight.
All right, you guys have a great night.
All right. Say hello to the missus.
All right.
We'll talk to you.
Okay.
Peace.
All right, we'll do. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, you guys. Well, we have reached the end of another exciting episode of Friday Night Livestream. JR, what do you want to leave the audience with?
Just nothing but love. You know, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everything you guys have done for me. Red Pill, I mean, Zach, you know, I've said this on other podcasts. I know when you reach out to me, you and Methodist reach out to me, you saw just a dude that went out and did something great and tried to make a statement. Mm-hmm. I think you were forward looking in the fact that I was getting into a world that I don't understand, and I tried to mix that up with some Big Lebowski, but I missed the mark. But you know, I appreciate you guys looking out for me. You know, I really do. I appreciate all the patriots that are supporting me on Twitter, and let's just keep doing it. Let's keep fighting the good fight. Let's look for the long game. Let's be strategic, and let's be self-conscious and aware, and be kind to one another. So that's what it's all about.
All right, man. I can't agree with you more.
Even if they don't agree with you or not as smart as you, still just be nice to them. That's
right. 100%. All right. Well, JR, you have navigated this world extremely well. I will forever be grateful for the fact that I was able to get a hold of you so easily. I figured there's no way that this guy is going to be able to talk to me, because I knew that you were going to be inundated with requests. So what an incredible thing to happen. The way the world works is still mystifying in a wonderful way. Thank you to everybody who hung out with us tonight. Thank you to everybody who supported the show. Thank you to everybody that is my mod. I appreciate all of you guys, all the work you guys put in, and it really helps out the channel. And I appreciate everybody who was nice and kind to each other in the chat, despite the fact that we had some trolls. And even if you are a troll, you're still an American, and we're still fighting to save your country as well. All right, you guys, be back.
Give a 5x5 in chat for Muffin.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, 5x5 in the chat for Muffin. And tomorrow, I'm going to be interviewing James Bradley. James Bradley is a patriot in California. He is running against Ted Lieu in this upcoming election. So definitely tune into that. We're going to have a whole weekend full of awesome patriots. And then on Saturday, we got Quite Frankly, who's going to be joining us on Comfy Sunday. All right, you guys, good luck, God bless, and we will talk to y'all again very soon.